From Kanye's cryptic warnings to Cassie's chilling allegations of abuse and control, whispers about Diddy's dark side have been echoing for years. These aren't just random accusations. They come from big names like 50 Cent, Wendy Williams, and even Tupac himself. For decades, the music mogul has had a reputation for power and influence, but behind the glitz, many have hinted at something far more disturbing. Were we just ignoring the red flags, or was Hollywood determined to keep these secrets buried? Kanye West's cryptic warnings.
Poison me, and by the way, y'all done already with me so much. Y'all already black mirrored me. You already made everybody think I'm crazy. You already took my family away. You already separated all my friends. I don't got no celebrity friends. Because when I was on TV, on Instagram saying, I don't know where my child is, and the Kardashians kidnapped my daughter in public, and I didn't have the address of my child, none of these niggas that want to say something
Travis
now.
Travis gave you the address, though?
Travis gave me the address. Right. But as far as Meek Mills, Puff Daddy, whoever, none of these niggas, all you fake hard niggas, fuck you. Hold on. Okay. All you fake hard niggas, you know what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck because you can't shoot nobody anyway. And the reason why you got to talk is because you did a deal, you fed. You know what I'm saying? That's why you got to come at me, because part of the deal for you to be able to do all that and get out of jail is that you promise that you're going to go pull my co-car. So y'all niggas shut the f.
Kanye West, never one to hold back, called out Diddy as early as 2022, referring to him as a Fed and claiming he was someone willing to sell out others to keep himself out of jail. Now, considering Diddy's recent legal troubles, Kanye's words start to feel less like wild talk and more like the kind of insider warning Hollywood tried to ignore. At the time, people wrote off Kanye's accusations as yet another rant from someone who is famous for them. It's like clockwork. Kanye says something shocking, the media dismisses it, and the public chalks it up to another crazy Kanye moment. But what if he was actually onto something? When Kanye spoke about Diddy, he hinted at a deeper network of power and influence, suggesting that Diddy used his connections to maintain control while compromising others. In retrospect, Kanye's statements might have been more than just tabloid gossip. The media loves to highlight Kanye's controversies, often framing his words as part of a larger chaotic personality rather than legitimate grievances. Sure, Kanye's delivery is unique, but that doesn't mean his message should always be dismissed. The reality is that figures like Diddy have the power and influence to maintain a certain image, and Hollywood seems all too eager to help keep that image intact, even if it means sidelining voices like Kanye's. So next time you hear Kanye speak out, maybe think twice before dismissing it as just Kanye. Hollywood and the media are adept at discrediting people who speak against powerful figures, painting them as problematic or unstable. Maybe Kanye was trying to tell us something important about Diddy and the larger Hollywood machine that protects him. After all, it's not unusual for the boldest voices to get shut down first. Usher's disturbing memories of Puffy Camp.
I moved to New York City, and I lived with Sean Puffy Combs for a year.
That's the crazy thing. Now, that was L.A. Reid's idea, right? We're sending you over to something called Puffy Flavor Camp.
There you go.
To learn
Flavor Camp.
Yeah,
Flavor
that's
Camp.
what it was called. And you're going to go to Puff Daddy's. He's going
In the 90s. Do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some.
When Usher was just 13, he found himself living with Diddy in what has infamously come to be known as Puffy Camp. Young, impressionable, and new to the glitz of Hollywood, Usher witnessed behaviors and events he now refers to as curious things he couldn't quite understand. Imagine being a kid around all that Hollywood madness, no one to protect you, with someone as powerful as Diddy running the show. Usher describes it with some nostalgia, but he also hints at an unsettling feeling beneath the surface. He went there to get a first-hand glimpse of the lifestyle, but what he saw and didn't understand left a lasting impression. Looking back, it's not hard to imagine the power imbalance at play. Diddy, already a huge name in the music industry, had an underage Usher under his wing, exposed to a side of fame that he was too young to fully process. these weren't just normal coming-of-age experiences. They were events that would likely shock anyone on the outside looking in. Usher has since mentioned that he wouldn't want his own children in that environment, calling Puffy Camp something he wouldn't wish on anyone he cares about. In hindsight, Usher's memories of those days serve as a warning. The price of fame, especially for the young, can be alarmingly high. Hollywood has a way of romanticizing stories like these, brushing off serious issues as part of a tough industry. But when we hear Usher, who's now a father, hint that he regrets those experiences, it's hard to ignore. The glitz and glamour were likely more than what he bargained for, and the power dynamic must have been deeply skewed in Diddy's favor. For anyone questioning the darker side of Hollywood's inner circle, Usher's story is a strong reminder. Behind every success story of a child star, there's often a hidden world that we're only now beginning to understand. Mace's financial feud and allegations of exploitation.
The Mace thing, I did one album with Mace. One album. How much money do you think I owe this guy? One album, and then he became a fake pastor and went and conned people, and then y'all gonna let him throw dirt on the God's name? I wrote each and every one, and each and everybody could come and step up. Bring your receipts. But I'm not playing. I'm back outside and I'm fighting back for us. And I'm also do a little fighting back for me. You know what I'm saying? So
how much money and I'm just throwing this out, how much money does somebody like a The owe you? Because the reason I say that,
Mace owes me $3 million. That's facts. I got the receipt.
Second album, you gave money to do the second album, never delivered.
Did the album, never delivered. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna go back and forth with Mace. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going back and forth with nobody. I'm just gonna, if I'm here, I'm gonna speak up for myself. I'm gonna speak up for myself now.
Mace, one of Diddy's most famous collaborators, has openly shared his financial grievances with the man who once managed his career. According to Mace, Diddy cheated him out of his rightful royalties and essentially forced him into a $20,000 publishing deal that kept him locked out of his earnings. To make matters worse, Diddy has consistently denied Mace's claims, even asserting that Mace owes him $3 million. Now, here's the kicker. Mace is far from the only one who's raised these financial grievances against Diddy. He might have been one of the first to do so, but the list of people claiming they were financially exploited under Diddy's watch has grown long over the years. Mace's story is significant because it reveals a side of Hollywood that fans rarely see, the part where loyalty means nothing when money's involved. You'd think that someone who helped build Diddy's empire would be treated better, but Mace's allegations suggest otherwise. He's openly expressed disdain for the way Diddy kept him from his earnings, claiming it wasn't just about the money, but also about respect. And let's be real, Diddy is known for his savvy business moves, but when you hear stories like Mace's, it paints a different picture. In an industry that already makes it difficult for artists to thrive financially, allegations like these make us question who's really benefiting. Mace's experience with Diddy is a prime example of how loyalty can be a one-way street in the entertainment business. The industry loves to present these moguls as self-made and inspirational, but the truth can be a lot murkier when it comes to their treatment of collaborators. It's easy to dismiss Mace's story as another celebrity feud, but there's a clear pattern here. When someone as vocal as Mace raises these issues, it sheds light on the exploitation that's deeply ingrained in Hollywood's power structures. Mace's story is a reminder that loyalty and respect are often sacrificed for the sake of money and control. Cat Williams warnings on Club Shay podcast.
All of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is. TG Jakes, any of them. All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way. The truth is the light.
Cat Williams has always been a bit of an enigma in Hollywood, a comedian who's never quite fit the mold, often running into trouble for speaking his mind. But on a 2024 episode of the Club Shay Shay podcast, Williams dropped some intriguing warnings about Diddy's notorious parties. He advised people to just say no to these events, citing receipts for his comments. He hinted at strange things going on, describing scenarios that, in the context of Diddy's recent allegations, seem more like a cautionary tale than comedy. At the time, Williams' comments were largely brushed off as typical Cat Williams antics, but given recent developments, his words seem less like jokes and more like red flags. Williams has often been labeled as eccentric, which Hollywood loves to do to those who don't fit its mold. But anyone who's followed Williams knows he's often been right about the very things he gets criticized for. In the case of Diddy, his vague warnings about these parties and protecting certain areas of himself now take on a whole new meaning. It's almost as if he's been trying to speak up, but like many others, was met with the usual dismissal that Hollywood reserves for those who don't play by its rules. The truth is, sometimes those labeled as crazy or outspoken are just seeing through the facade sooner than everyone else. Williams' comments weren't explicit, but they didn't need to be. They hinted at something more insidious behind the scenes. In retrospect, Williams wasn't just telling a joke, he was sounding an alarm. As more people come forward, his comments serve as a reminder to take note of the warning signs instead of brushing them aside. Sometimes the truth comes from the voices Hollywood doesn't want us to hear. Aubrey O'Day's behind-the-scenes account of making the band.
She said she remembers when he said that to me, and then I said, "What did I do?" And she said, "You kind of looked at me and said, he finally thinks I'm pretty." That was what I thought in that moment. Now, I don't recall that, but she recalled it very clearly. And I think that it's just so telling for what a woman goes through in a systemic problem. Specifically, right now we're discussing urban music, but it's happening across the board in music. But it's a systemic problem that, like, you know, you meet the person that can make your dreams come true. It's very much, it's grooming. It's very much like what the military does. They break you down to make you what they need you to be. An abuser will never abuse you on day one. They push you a little bit. They talk to you a little rougher. Then they grab your arm.
Aubrey O'Day, known as a singer and reality star, had her career reshaped by Diddy on the reality show, Making the Band. But looking back, she shared that working with Diddy was more like surviving a gauntlet of intimidation, racism, and sexism. O'Day described her time on the show as marked by an intense fear of what each day would bring, often feeling like she was constantly walking on eggshells. She's pointed out Diddy's perfectionist demands, which weren't just tough but demeaning, pushing limits that today would likely raise all sorts of red flags. O'Day has mentioned that she was often subjected to sexist remarks and demeaning comments that created a hostile environment, casting a shadow over what should have been a golden opportunity in the music industry. Unfortunately, because O'Day came up through reality TV, many people didn't take her claims seriously. It's easy for Hollywood and the media to dismiss people like her, lumping them in as reality stars and writing off their experiences as just showbiz. But if the past few years have taught us anything, it's that reality stars are often victims of the very system that should be supporting them. Discrediting people like O'Day is convenient for those in power, as it keeps the real stories hidden under layers of industry glamour and fake smiles. So the question becomes, who do we believe? Why are certain voices automatically dismissed while others get the benefit of the doubt? Hollywood is an industry built on carefully curated images, and anyone who goes against that grain is often painted as difficult or seeking attention. O'Day's experiences should remind us to listen closely, even if the person sharing isn't the polished star Hollywood prefers. Her story with Diddy isn't just about one tough boss. It's a look at a whole system built to silence and manipulate those who dare to speak out. Wendy Williams' open grudge.
And Wendy, who's long been critical of the disgraced rapper throughout her career and on her self-titled show,
I think that he's like leading this Playboy lifestyle,
is now sharing her relief to learn of his indictment. opening up to Daily Mail about how so many people have since told her, "Wendy, you called it." The TV personality, who's remained out of the spotlight over the last few years due to dementia and aphasia diagnoses, is also addressing the 2016 surveillance video that shows Diddy and his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. She tells the outlet to see this video on TV of Cassie getting pummeled. It was just horrific. Adding, "But now you have to think, how many more times? How many people? How many more women? It's just so..."
Wendy Williams' feud with Diddy goes back decades, and it's not just gossip, it's personal. Back in the late 90s, Williams was a radio DJ with a reputation for fearlessly calling out celebrities, and Diddy quickly became one of her targets. But Williams claimed that Diddy didn't take this lightly and used his influence to get her fired from her job at Hot 97. Think about that. A single call from Diddy allegedly resulted in her losing her position. This wasn't just about a DJ beef. It was a warning shot to anyone who might think of criticizing him in the future. And yet, instead of backing down, Wendy kept talking. She's mentioned Diddy in her books and has commented on his behavior on her talk show, painting a picture of someone who pulls strings to keep his image spotless. Why does this matter? Well, Wendy is living proof of how those who speak against powerful people are often targeted, silenced, or branded as problematic. Her story with Diddy shows the lengths someone will go to protect their reputation and the dark side of influence in Hollywood. It's not about who's right or wrong. It's about who has the power to control the narrative. Diddy's alleged moves to silence Williams only underscore the point that when you're that powerful, criticism is more than an inconvenience. It's a threat. Wendy Williams' grudge against Diddy is one of those stories that might seem like tabloid drama, but it hints at a larger issue. It should make us all question how often the loudest critics are pushed out not because they're wrong, but because they're dangerous to someone's brand. When you see someone as unfiltered as Wendy pushed to the sidelines, it's worth asking if there's more to the story than meets the eye. And in this case, Diddy's influence seems to go deeper than just controlling his public image. 50 Cent's feud and docuseries plans.
You have something huge coming up, which is a documentary about P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Did he do it, right?
Yeah.
I know you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before.
That's 50 Cent on the Enthusiast podcast earlier this month, defending why he's always been outspoken about longtime rival Sean Diddy Combs. Now, the rapper's doubling down on his feelings in a new interview with People.
I'm not panicking, they are.
Following Diddy's arrest for allegations of abuse, which he has vehemently denied, and stories of wild parties coming to light, 50 tells the outlet, "It seems like I'm doing some extremely outrageous things, but I haven't. It's really me just saying what I've been saying for..."
50 Cent's feud with Diddy is a saga all its own, and it's been ongoing for years. Back in 2006, 50 dropped a diss track called The Bomb, which directly suggested Diddy's involvement in the murder of Biggie Smalls. Now, that's a huge accusation, but 50 has never backed down, even hinting recently that Diddy might also have played a role in Tupac Shakur's murder. And it doesn't stop at music. 50 Cent has gone further, selling a docuseries titled Did He Do It? That investigates these very allegations. He's made it clear that this is more than just hip-hop rivalry. According to 50, there's something much darker at play, and he's willing to keep calling it out, no matter how uncomfortable it makes people. What's fascinating about this whole situation is how quickly people are to dismiss 50 Cent's accusations as part of a petty feud. Yes, he's outspoken and can be ruthless with his words, but does that mean his concerns are without basis? 50's massive influence gives him a platform that few have, and he's used it to keep the spotlight on Diddy's alleged actions. The media, though, often brushes off his claims as mere celebrity drama rather than recognizing it as a potential attempt to unveil the truth. The takeaway here is that not every feud is a fight over fame or respect. Sometimes, these public spats reveal uncomfortable truths that get lost in the noise of Hollywood's carefully controlled PR. 50 Cent's willingness to speak up, even if it means facing backlash, should make us wonder what's being hidden. It's easy for those in power to label people like 50 as troublemakers or attention seekers. But perhaps his persistence is actually pointing to something Hollywood doesn't want us to see. When someone of 50's stature feels the need to keep pushing, maybe it's worth taking his words a little more seriously. Tupac's skepticism before his death.
Tupac Shakur's family has hired Harvard-trained attorney Alex Spiro. He's a stud of a guy. You've met him, by the way. Known for representing Alec Baldwin in the Rust manslaughter case to investigate potential links between Sean Diddy Combs and Tupac's 1996 murder. Spiro, who has a roster of Hollywood clients, is tasked with exploring allegations involving Combs in Tupac's death nearly 30 years ago. Shakur was shot on September 7, 1996 in a drive-by while riding with Death Row Records co-founder Suge Knight. The unsolved case has spurred speculation for decades, and last year, Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was indicted on charges of open murder in connection with shooting, reigniting the investigation. As the investigation into Tupac's death intensifies, Combs faces serious legal troubles. He was arrested on September 16 and charged with racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking, transportation, and engaged in prostitution. If convicted, Combs could face up to life.
Tupac Shakur's suspicions about Diddy's involvement in his 1994 shooting are some of the most chilling allegations connected to Diddy. After a near-fatal shooting in New York, Tupac hinted that he believed Diddy played a role in the attack. In interviews, he didn't hold back, stating outright that he thought Diddy was connected to the violence. Then there's the even darker rumor that Diddy offered a staggering $1 million to see Tupac killed. Whether you believe it or not, it's unsettling that Tupac, who was well aware of the power dynamics in the music industry, would openly accuse one of its biggest moguls. His comments, made right before he died in 1996, have only grown more haunting in hindsight. Rodney Lil Rod Jones. Legal actions.
Yes, me, I think one of the reasons Jones is doing this is to bolster his credibility because it's come under attack in the public. As we mentioned, some of the people that he mentioned in his lawsuit have fired back against those allegations. Opposing counsel questioned his narratives and motives. So this is an opportunity for him to tell the court, look, I have the receipts. I can back up what I'm saying. I will testify about this. So there are a lot of details that he provides, including background and how he got linked up with and started working for Diddy, and we already covered a lot of that in his complaint on previous sidebars. But according to Jones, he has hundreds of hours of video of Combs in his inner circle. He says that Combs required him to film constantly because he did not like to repeat himself. He said, quote, I quickly learned that from observing him lose his temper with his staff and family if they failed to remember something he said.
Rodney Lil Rod Jones's legal case against Diddy is one of those stories that makes you question how much is swept under the rug in Hollywood. Jones, a producer who worked on Diddy's The Love album, Off the Grid, has alleged some truly disturbing things. According to Jones, while working at Diddy's house, he experienced unwanted advances and was forced into uncomfortable situations. Jones claims there were hidden cameras, and he even alleges he was drugged, only to wake up in compromising situations. These are the kinds of accusations that are more than just career-ending, they're downright shocking. It's not your typical case of he said, she said. This is a producer, someone who had seen Diddy's day-to-day operations up close, coming forward with serious allegations. Why is this case so important? Because it's a turning point. The music industry has a long history of protecting powerful figures, glossing over their bad behavior, and letting them get away with things most of us can't even imagine. But Jones's case is like that one loose thread that, when pulled, starts to unravel the entire sweater. His allegations go beyond the usual Hollywood gossip. Cassie Ventura's allegations of abuse and control.
You said Cassie's lawsuit, which was filed in November of 2023 and then was quickly settled overnight, it did open the floodgates. But in that complaint, Jake, she details an incident that she alleged happened in March of 2016 at a hotel in Los Angeles. She claimed in her lawsuit that she was physically assaulted by Diddy. Now our team in the LA Bureau, we have got our hands on that surveillance footage, and it appears to corroborate Cassie's claims identically. Really, Jake, the lawsuit lines up with exactly what we are seeing. So let's take a look. New surveillance footage obtained exclusively by CNN appears to corroborate some of the allegations of abuse against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. The video, captured on multiple cameras, shows Combs wearing only a towel, assaulting his then-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in a hallway at a Los Angeles hotel in March 2016. A lawsuit filed by Ventura in November last year and settled the next day referenced actions that seem to match those seen in this video.
Cassie Ventura's allegations against Diddy were some of the most shocking revelations yet, and in many ways, became the tipping point in Diddy's ongoing legal troubles. Cassie, who was in a long-term relationship with Diddy from 2007 to 2018, filed a lawsuit claiming that she endured years of abuse and manipulation. She described a controlling environment where she felt she had no agency over her own life. Cassie even alleged that Diddy's behavior included domestic violence and psychological abuse, keeping her under his control and making her feel trapped. After being silent for so long, her lawsuit landed like a bombshell, making people reevaluate the image of Diddy as just another successful music mogul. What makes this case particularly significant is how her allegations and the eventual settlement seem to set off a chain reaction. Cassie's lawsuit put Diddy's behavior in the public eye in a way that no one else's accusations had managed to do. This wasn't just another disgruntled ex or a petty feud. Cassie's claims showed a deeply troubling side of Diddy that people could no longer ignore. For years, the industry has overlooked the troubling behaviors of powerful figures, but Cassie's courage in coming forward marked a turning point. Her case seemed to finally push things over the edge, bringing more scrutiny to Diddy and exposing the darker side of his influence. Cassie's story is a reminder that speaking up can be transformative, even in an industry where power dynamics are rarely in favor of the victim. Her willingness to stand up and tell her story wasn't just about her own justice. It cracked open the carefully crafted facade that Diddy and others have long benefited from. In a world where so many stay silent out of fear, Cassie's case exposed the hidden control and abuse that can come with unchecked power. Her lawsuit is a critical moment in holding people like Diddy accountable, and it marks a turning point in how Hollywood and the public view these once untouchable figures. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, make sure to check out the next video.